This right here has to be one of the most stupidity-dense videos I've ever seen. I never would have thought it was possible to cram this much idiocy into a 20-second video, but somehow this guy manages to pull it off, so let's get right into it.
Right-wing drama queens say that taxation is theft.
So right off the bat, I think it's pretty rich coming from this guy, saying that we're the drama queens. Given the absolute doomsday scenarios this guy believes would happen if libertarianism was implemented. And that's not a hyperbole or a straw man, by the way. This guy has literally argued in his videos that people would just be drinking dirty water or building unsafe buildings without bureaucrats constantly breathing down their necks. Like as if the human race is a bunch of retards who are too stupid to manage their own lives and therefore need government to be their babysitter. This guy literally believes that civilization as we know it would collapse if people weren't being forced to spend their money his way, but apparently we're the drama queens for pointing out that the state violently extorts money from people on a regular basis. Look at this little gem of an argument right here. Libertarianism is a dangerous vision for society. Oh yeah, people being free to live their own lives and make their own decisions? I know, how dangerous.
There is no comparison between taxation and some back alley mugger.
Actually, there is a very big comparison that's rather important. Both situations involve someone threatening you with violence in order to get money from you. The only difference is when the government does it, it's perceived as legitimate.
Hands up, give me just a fraction of your money.
Hey pal, you just blowing from Stupid Town?
This is such an idiotic argument. Like if someone forcibly takes your money without your consent, it's somehow relevant that they only took a fraction of your money. So if I went and pickpocketed $20 from this guy, according to him, I didn't actually steal from him because I didn't take literally every last penny to his name.
So that I can use it to improve society.
It doesn't matter how you spend the money. If you use threats of violence to extort money from other people, that's theft. It doesn't suddenly become justified because you're spending it on something you believe is worthwhile. If someone went around robbing people at gunpoint, would you be okay with it as long as they were giving that money to charity? If not, then why the double standard when it comes to government?
Most people agree that we should have these taxpayer-funded programs.
So remind me then why it is exactly that we need to be forced to pay for these programs? If most people want these programs, then it stands to reason that most people would also be willing to pay some money into these programs. The only reason you'd need to force people to pay for these programs is if they didn't really want them and had no interest in paying for them. This is an issue where Anton seems to like to talk out of both sides of his mouth. On the one hand, he talks as if most people support and want these government programs, but on the other hand, he talks as though people need to be forced to pay for these programs due to a lack of interest. Well, which is it, Anton? You can't have your cake and eat it too.
Because they provide us with real benefits.
So there's an example that Larkin Rose commonly uses to point out the idiocy of this argument. Imagine that a mugger walks up to you, points a gun at you, and says, hand over $200, and then hands you a moldy sandwich in return. Well, look at that. You benefited. You got something in return. So that means you have no right to complain that you were just mugged for $20 and given a moldy sandwich that you may or may not have wanted. Yeah, and if these benefits are just so amazingly wonderful, wouldn't people voluntarily be willing to pay into them? I can choose my brand of laundry detergent, my brand of toothpaste, my brand of cereal. Why not my brand of police service or fire protection as well?
So what are we doing in this case? Stealing from ourselves?
How stupid are you?
That's a dishonest way of framing the issue, and you know it. Everyone knows that's not how taxation works. No, you're not stealing from yourself, you're stealing from everyone else who didn't want to pay for it. If only the people who voted for something had to pay for it, then yeah, this argument would work. But everyone is forced to pay for those tax increases, even if you're in a minority and you voted against it. And there's no way to unsubscribe or opt out of the system, by the way. You're forced to pay for whatever the majority wants, whether you like it or not. If one day a bunch of people in your neighborhood decide to come together and take a vote as to whether or not you should be forced to hand over your car, and you get outvoted, would you feel obligated to hand over your car, or would you be like, well, who the hell are you? It's my car. I paid for it fair and square. If you wouldn't feel obligated to hand over your car in this situation, then again, why the double standard when it comes to government?